Hello guys and welcome to Kitchen Kolony. On this channel, I'll be bringing to you a taste of Jamaican inspired meals with a twist to suit every palate. This week guys, we're going Mediterranean and I'll be cooking for you lamb chops served with a bean salad and some spicy couscous. So let's get cooking. Before we move on, let me just take this time to thank my subscribers, old and new, and also my viewers. Thank you for coming back faithfully every week. Now, lamb chops is part of the ribs and it is usually very tender and very flavorful. Now let's get started. Here in my bowl, I have some small pieces of lamb chops. Yeah, small, they're varied sizes, but lamb chops, and they have been washed and cleaned. And in this bowl, I have a tablespoon of Worcester sauce and 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, dark soy sauce. Here, I have a teaspoon of green seasoning, a teaspoon of ginger, and a teaspoon of mild jerk. A tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of all-purpose, Jamaican all-purpose, and a teaspoon of the other all-purpose seasoning because it is salt-based, so I'm using it as salt. Here, 1 teaspoon of black pepper and 3 large cloves of garlic. Now remember, you can use whatever seasoning you like. You don't have to stick to these. Now I'm going to grate my garlic in this bowl and then I'm going to add all the other seasoning in this bowl to make a paste. Now it's time to season our lamb chops using the paste. I'm going to rub it into the meat, yeah? And rub on both sides because we're going to allow it to marinate for overnight. So this will penetrate the meat. I like seasoning it this way, making the paste, because by doing so all the seasoning is blended together, and when you season, everything has the same taste and every meat has some of the seasoning. Now when we're through, we're going to put it in a Ziploc bag and put it away to marinate until tomorrow when it's time to cook. It's the following day and I took the meat out the refrigerator and I left it on the counter for about 20 minutes because we want it to be at room temperature. Now it's properly marinated and I'm going to take it out and get ready to sear it, and searing locks in the flame. Now I'm going to take it over to the stove. Now we're going to deglaze the pan to get all the juices from the meat off the bottom of the pan, and we're going to throw it on the meat. Now place this in a preheated oven at 160 degrees Celsius or 320 Fahrenheit, and we put it in to bake for at least an hour. Now while the chops are baking, I'm going to make a bean salad and also couscous to go with the meal. The bean salad, I'll be using some marifat peas, and this is just the mature garden peas, and red kidney beans, some mixed beans, and chickpeas. Now I'll be using a garlic dip to blend my bean salad, but it's actually just mayonnaise with grated garlic. And here I'm going to use some bell peppers and a piece of red onion. I'll be adding a teaspoon of sugar and a little black pepper, and if I need salt later on, I'll add. Now our tins have been washed and ready, so I'm going to use the entire tin of the mixed beans, yeah, and I'm going to throw it in this colander because I want to wash off all the starch from the. I don't want the starch. I want it all to be washed off, yeah. Now I'm just going to use about half of the tin of the red kidney beans. I'm also going to use half of the chickpeas, and why half? My family is very small, so I don't need a lot. So this would be enough for one meal. Also half of the marifat peas. This is about it. I think this is our beans, and now we're going to add our sugar. I'm going to sprinkle our sugar over and mix it. Now I'm going to add a little black pepper. White pepper would be ideal, but I don't have any, so I'm just using a third of a spoon and mix. Now I'm going to add some salt. That's about it. If we need more, we'll taste and then add. So we mix. Now it's time we add our onion or bell peppers, and we're going to mix. And now for my garlic dip, remember, if you have mayonnaise, you can use mayonnaise and grate a clove of garlic in it, or you omit the garlic if you don't want it. Now let's mix, and you add as you go along. Now cover it and put it in the refrigerator. As I said, 1 hour is best, or even longer. Now it's time to make our couscous, and I'll need some olive oil, some diced vegetables like sweet pepper, onion, and I'm using some garlic, which I'll be grating off. Then I'll use some couscous, and for this today I'll be using 2 cups of couscous, and 2 cups of couscous requires 2 cups of liquid. So I'll show you what I'll be using for my liquid. But for the end, I'll be using some spring onions. So for every cup, you use a cup of liquid. So in this case, I'll be using 2 cups. Now for liquid, I'll be using a stock. You can use vegetable stock, beef stock, chicken stock, whichever stock you have. If you don't have stock, you can use a bouillon cube with water. To my pan, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's about it. And I'm going to fry off my vegetables. Onion, bell peppers, and I'm just softening them. Then I'm going to grate my garlic, and we don't want our garlic to burn. For added flavor, I've decided to put a little green seasoning, just a teaspoon. And for some heat, I don't have any fresh Scotch bonnet, so I have to use a little bit of my jerk seasoning. And this also adds flavor. Now I want my couscous to be fluffy and not soft, so I've decided to fry it a little, just to toast it a little in the oil before I put my liquid on. Do it for a few minutes, just as you do when you're toasting rice. This is what you want. Now remember, your stock must be boiling, or your liquid should be boiling, so it's time to pour it in. Turn your stove off, stir, and just cover, and allow it to cook for 10 minutes. Now it's 1 hour later, and I'm going to check the lamb. Let's see. Let's test. Yeah, tender, very tender. But it needs a few more minutes, maybe a half an hour more. And you notice I didn't have to add any more liquid. It is enough. But at this point, I'm going to make my garlic honey glaze, because that's what I want on my lamb today, garlic honey glaze. And I'm going to pour it on and leave it for another half an hour. Now it's 10 minutes now. Let's fluff it up. It has absorbed all the liquid. See? Fluffing it up. And the only thing you might need to add is maybe a little butter if you want it. But if you don't want that, it is already done. Now we put our spring onions in at this point. And that's it, it's finished. Now serve. Now I'll be making a quick glaze to go over my lamb chops, and I'll be using about a tablespoon of honey, a little ketchup, yeah man, a little soy sauce, and then I'm going to mix with some water. Now I'm going to taste. I might need a little salt or a little more seasoning in this, so I'll add that. It's just a simple glaze. I'm just going to pour my glaze over it, and I've added a little mixed herb in my glaze, and that's optional, you don't have to do that. I'm scooping from the bottom, just pouring it on the meat, and I'm going to allow it, cover it again, and allow it to cook for about 10 minutes. Because if I keep it off, it will burn, and I don't want it to burn. So I'm just going to cover it, because sugar or honey will cause it to burn. So I cover it and allow it to cook for 10 minutes. It's coming up to 10 minutes now. It's done. Just coating it now. Now here we have it, guys. Very tasty. A hint of sweetness, not too sweet, but well seasoned, delicious and tender, very moist. Succulent and tender lamb chops, served with a bean salad and a spicy couscous. Enjoy. If you've enjoyed what you've just watched, then please give me a thumbs up, share my videos, and if you have not yet subscribed, please remember to do so. I do enjoy making these videos for you, and I do appreciate your comments. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.